Okay, everybody, this is part 2 of the instructions for your at-home learning review on making graphs. We had just finished doing a bar chart on an ordinal variable, the level of happiness. Let's now scroll down, and I'm working with the lab code that we had from March 9th. And here is an example with the histogram when we made a histogram for childs. Now, let's copy the chunk, go down a couple lines, and paste the chunk. And now we can edit it to include our interval ratio variable. So let's say your variable is not child's, but instead is TV hours. You would replace AES x equals here, the variable TV hours, and then down in the title and the labels, you can be a little bit more descriptive about what the variable is. So in other words, that list of GSS variables that I have posted on Blackboard, where it has the specific names for each variable, you have to be sure that you're using that exact name where the x equals is. And so I just happen to know that that variable is TV hours. If you, for some reason, weren't sure and you typed something like TV, or you abbreviated and had TVHRS, you would not get a successful run of a graph from RStudio. It would give you an error message. So where the X is, you have to be precise with the exact GSS name of your variable. Where the title is and where the labels are, you have more freedom, and I encourage you to be as descriptive as possible. So here, distribution of adult Americans, I'm going to change it. The variable TV hours is how many hours of TV a person watches per day. So here I'm going to say by hours of TV watched per day. Now, in one of the other videos I've posted, I explained how if you are worried that your title is going to run off the page and you want to instead have a title that's 2 lines instead of 1 long line, the way you split it is wherever you want to split onto the next line, you click there, you make a backslash, which is underneath your enter key, right above your enter key, and then a lowercase n. And that makes the title split onto 2 lines. And then here, we're not looking at number of children anymore. We're looking at hours of TV per day. Okay. And so I can now run this. The only other things that you might think about changing, I'm just doing a replacement of the variable name and the descriptions in the title and the labels. But when you're doing a histogram, you can also think about what you want to do with the bin width. So here, the bin width has 1. That means that for each hour of TV, you're going to have 1 bin. We can look at that and then maybe decide if we want to try something a little bit different afterwards. The other thing that you can always feel free to change or play around with are the color, which is the outline of the bars, and the fill, which is what is inside the bars. Okay, so let's run this. So this is our histogram. Distribution of adult Americans by hours of TV watched per day. You have 1 bin for each, and it ends at 24 because there are 24 hours in a day, and you have the percent going up the side. So it looks like 1 bin, a bin width of 1, is a good choice for this variable, but there may be other variables where you want to have a different bin width. And so you can keep playing with it just here. You need to remember what the unit is for the variable you're looking at. And so here it's an hour. People could respond that they watched 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, and so forth. The same is true for the variables that ask about hours worked. It's in units of hours, and so that might make sense to have a bin width of 1. But maybe you would, want to try something else. What if we do a bin width of 2? Now it looks like this. That's also, an interesting and descriptive graph, and it shows how most people are watching somewhere around 2 to 3 hours a day. And then we have a tail that goes off to the right because you have a few people who are watching a lot of television. So this histogram demonstrates a positive skew, a skew to the right because of the few extreme people who are bringing up the value of the mean. While the value of the median remains the same. So once you have your graphs, your histograms, and your bar charts, you can copy them into a Word document, as I've explained in a separate video. But basically you're right-clicking and copying the image, and then going to your Word and pasting it as a special and choosing device independent bitmap. And just to remind you again, there are 2 parts to what you're doing with the learning review. You are answering questions that describe what you see in each of your 3 graphs, and then you're uploading the graphs as a Word document into a separate part of the learning review section. And then the other reminder I want to give you is that the 3 variables that you're working with here are the same 3 that you used for your learning review on measures of central tendency, and that for the midterm project, you're going to be using your 3 other variables. We all chose 6 variables at the beginning of the semester, 2 nominal, 2 ordinal, and 2 interval ratio. So you'll use the ones that you did not use for the measures of central tendency and for the graphs for the midterm project. Please let me know if you have any questions.